But there are some Hindi phrases that come to mind. One of them being "Haath aaya par muँh na laga," came to hand but not to taste in the tongue. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Dinesh Karthik and Harsha Bhogle, talking about the disappointment. Oh, so close. You can see it. You can smell it. You can almost taste it. But oops, it's just out of reach by 4 runs. It's just a brilliant effort in the end. And I got to say, if you were going to do those Test cricket is still alive tweets for an ODI, Dinesh, this would be the time to do it. Finally, we got an exciting final 10 overs of a 100-over game.
Definitely. I think it was a terrific game to watch. I think the way that Deepak Chahar kept us in the hunt was great to watch. I think we're always talking about the fact that we need somebody in the lower order to contribute, to bat. He showed again. He did it in Sri Lanka. Another great opportunity for him to showcase his skills. Comes in the one game that he plays, bowls well with the new ball, and makes sure he gives everything with the bat. That guy has got a lot of skill. And most importantly, great mental attitude, I felt.
Yeah, Harsha, it was just, this is one of those games, right? One of those, I think it's an open secret now that it's my least favorite format, the ODI. But I tell you, I was glued to just every second of those last 10 overs. We need games like this.
Of course we do. I mean, from the overall context of the health of the game, yes, one-day cricket desperately needed games like this. Should it have come to this? That's something we need to discuss. Yeah. Should it have been a close game? We should discuss. Yeah, close game is great as box office. But I'm not sure it should have been a close game against that kind of South African attack. So before we say anything else, first you must say hats off to South Africa for defending that score without their three best bowlers. No Rabada, no Nokia, no Shamsi. I mean, you could argue no Rohit Sharma, no Jadeja, no Hart. You could always argue. Finally, it's a team on the ground that does it. But for a team without their three best bowlers to defend and get performances from people like Pretorius, look at Wayne Pretorius, 9.2 was 2 for 54. Keshav Maharaj 1 for 39, closing it in those middle overs. To get performances out of those was fantastic. Maybe there is a lot to be said for hunger. It's one of the great attributes in sport. One of the great attributes in sport. I'm not sure it can be bought, but it tells you a little bit.
South Africa, I mean, it's a team that showed us even after winning the Test series, you realize what it meant to them. It's a country where cricket has been in a fair bit of turmoil, to say administratively, more off the field than really on the field, and on the field as well, because some of their senior experienced cricketers have bid adieu to the game in the last few years. So a team in transition, a young captain, Temba Bavuma, has only played, his entire career is in the teens. That's right, 16 games. And to lead that outfit out there, Dinesh, to take them with some of their kingpins missing, to take them to a 3-0 win over mighty India. Geez, there are wins and then there are wins. So this is the latter.
Absolutely. I think Temba Bavuma has been a revelation as a captain, and just the way he marshaled his troops, the bowling changes that he made, I thought it was brilliant. Even the position where he was standing at mid-off, if you take Bumrah's shot, that could have easily gone over him, but just standing deep there, making sure he covers enough ground. And I think a good thing to happen to South African cricket was Brexit, because I think now they have the option of Kolpak not existing anymore. So a lot of the cricketers have to remove that from their mind. They can probably go and play a little bit of cricket in England, but they can't just completely turn over their contracts and go full time there. So in many ways, those cricketers realize that they have to come back, be part of the South African setup, do everything required in domestic cricket to showcase their skills so that they can be part of the South African national team. So in many ways, I think this has been a top effort by Team South Africa and very well led by Temba Bavuma.
It's interesting what DK just said. The very reason that was destroying South African cricket could actually come back and bring their old riches back to them. We say, "Apna Kohinoor lota do, hamara hai." So hamare player lota do. They say, "Give us our players back. Brexit's gone, dudes. England, go look for somewhere else. England's most fertile breeding ground of cricketers, which was South Africa, is no longer available. Come back to us."
True. But Harsha, for South African cricket fans, I mean, when they look at the last 3 or 4 weeks, the South African cricket fans are saying, "Oh, we can dare to dream now."
Possible. They'll be aware too that India haven't quite played their best cricket, but that's not in their hands. What they had to do, they have done. I mean, I know I said some time back that with a declining talent pool in South Africa, I meant that from an IPL perspective, not from a cricket playing perspective. But in this series, there have been players who've played these little bit roles, not going standout, scoring 150 and winning a game, or taking 5 wickets and winning a game. We haven't seen an Amla or a Steyn or a Morkel, but see how they've played their bit roles. And Gidi rose to the challenge in his first spell. His first spell today was fantastic. Look at Pretorius. I mean, Pretorius bowling 10 overs inside the power play, back at the death. I mean, most times you would not give him that role, and yet Pretorius has played that role. Beklukwayo in his own little way has played that role. Maharaj hardly played one-day cricket for South Africa. He's come up and played that role. So while you're not shivering, saying, how do we play against the South African side? But just see, and that's why I talk about hunger and character in players. They've shown that in their own little way. I'll do this bit here. I'll do this bit here. And the sum of the parts of a team must always add up to more than the whole. Yeah. And the sum of the parts here has added up beautifully. India will look back at this and say, right, we had the fancied players. We had the opposite, much talked about players. We had players with huge valuations. The corporate world is telling us already that valuations need to be backed by performance over the long term.
True.
And I would be disappointed with 2 or 3 people here. I thought Shreyas had his opportunities. 118 for 3, chasing 280 on number 5. I don't know what, I mean, I've not been in that situation, so I don't know. But if I was, I'd say, wow, give me 3 of these situations, because that is my opportunity to show I can be a match winner.
Yep.
If Rishabh Pant has to be number 4, then he can't say Lagitwal. Yeah, ऐसे में खेलता हूं, then he can't. He has to be number 4, he can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point you make about South Africa, right? It's all about optimizing your talent. And DK, all players have their strengths and they have their not so strong points. It's about optimizing your strengths and limiting your weaknesses, right? That's what you do on the field. And I think for South Africa, it's a great point, is that not only did all of them, I mean, the captain optimized his resources, all the players seemed to optimize whatever they had. And in India, you can say just the opposite, right? They kind of squandered the resources when you look at the names that are on the sheet there.
Yeah, I mean, a few of the players did. I'm not going to say no, but also you got to understand that India have hungry players. Deepak Chahar, for example, the way he bowled, the way he batted,
absolutely
phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I think Shikhar Dhawan is at the end of a very, Shikhar Dhawan's obviously time is running out in a lot of people's eyes. Why even he wouldn't know, because he's done well in the last, I don't know for how long, ODI cricket, but we constantly think about the fact that whether he should be there. Again, another series, again, the highest run getter, that's all you can do as a batter. Obviously you have a strike rate of 87, as I said, about the 80s, and then average of 57. That's I mean, what more can you expect? Again, hunger there, wanting to be part of Team India, wanting to be part of the setup and giving it everything that he's got. So you have also that with the Indian team. We should weigh that in as well. The people who are hungry are doing so phenomenally well. But the question is, will they be allowed to carry on because of other factors that obviously are part of them as individuals, being age, one, fitness, and various factors, the speeds at which you bowl. So these are the parameters by which they obviously judge whether they need you or not. So those decisions will be taken in the near future. But there is a lot of hungry cricketers in India as well. You ask some of the players who are part of India A and some of the domestic cricketers, they're waiting for a chance to get this cap and be part of the team that India is playing in terms of white ball cricket, at least. So obviously South Africa, I think, definitely has done well, but there are definitely some Indian cricketers who would do anything, just to get an opportunity to represent Team India on an international scale.
I'm delighted you mentioned those 2 names, because that's exactly the point I'm making. Hunger. Every time, we've said this before, every time you tell Shikhar Dhawan, look, there's someone coming, he'll say, no, I'm here first, and he'll deliver performances. And in this series, he's again said, excuse me, you want to look beyond me? You'll have to drag me out, because I'm not going anywhere. Every time you give me a chance, I'm taking it. So Shikhar Dhawan and Shardul Thakur as well, to some extent. Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar. I'm going to add one more name to that list, because I remember saying about Tendulkar once, look, here's the emperor walking the streets like a common man. When Tendulkar was taking blows on his body, that it was a difficult track. I think one of the games that you played, DK, when you were opening the batting in 2007, one of the days when Tendulkar just had to hang in. Things were not going for him. He hung in and produced the runs. To some extent, Virat Kohli is going through that. But I just love the way Virat Kohli decided this is how I'm going to play. And I think if I'm a young Shreyas Iyer or Rishabh Pant, I'm looking at Virat Kohli today and saying, you know what, things may not be going his way all the time, but wow, he's showing the fight.
Yeah, it's about showing that resolve, right? I mean, things are. Virat Kohli's probably had the most purplest purple patch, right? It just went on and on, where you kept thinking that, my God, has like his second purple patch started without anything in the middle, no dip in the middle. I mean, that's how long the purple patch was. So it was bound to be a time where, it would not flow as smoothly as that. But just the, what's the line that Ravi uses, DK? Guts it out. You got to guts it out. He really showed it today, didn't he?
I think the beauty of a great batter is when things don't go your way, you still find ways to survive, struggle, go through that grind, if I may use that word, and fight it out, guts it out. We saw that in the test as well. That partnership we had with Rishabh Pant, he got 15 of 80, 85 balls, completely against his nature of batting, just being out there. Even he's got 250s out of the 3 innings that he's played. We all know he's probably not enjoying it as much as he did. I mean, that's okay. But still finding a way to do what is required as a number 3 batter, that is a lesson in itself for a lot of the players who are watching, and for a lot of the domestic cricketers who are watching TV, and attribute you need to learn. Because every time you go out to walk, you're not going to go and hit a length ball for a boundary. Their bowler's not going to bowl over pitched and give you on the legs and you just get going. There will be situations when you have to fight it out. You have to guts it out, if that's what you want me to say. And he did it brilliantly today. It was a hard wicket. They set some good fields for him. Better fields. He fought it out there. Yes, he got out, but he wanted to do it badly for Team India and be there at the end. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And that's where greatness is. You got to understand and be part of the process, and be ready to fight it out. If everything in life comes too easy, then everybody will end up being a legend. It doesn't come that easy.
True.
You have to find days when it is hard to find a way to stay there. And that will come with experience, but most of it is between what you tell between your ears. If you're willing to go through that grind and fight it out in the middle, because some days you can see some of the shots that you're good at, that wicket will say that you can't play these shots today. So then you have to hold back. Then you have to say, okay, to get to that phase where I can play the shots that I'm good at, you should be able to see through that period with shots that you're not comfortable with. That's what fighting is all about. We all keep speaking about, Tendulkar's 200 without the cover drive. There's no better cover drivers and on drivers than Sachin Tendulkar. But on that day, he decided that's important for his future in many ways, because he was getting out similarly. He just put that in the kit bag and went to bat, leaving his ego aside in the kit bag, and just went and fought it out there. That is a high scoring shot. You got to understand, as a bowler, 80% of the balls they're looking to bowl on and around the off stump in Test cricket. So the main scoring shot is the cover drive and the on drive. If you remove one shot out of that, imagine the only runs you're going to get is cut, pull, and flick. For him to have done that, it requires a lot of mental skill. It's not technical, it's mental skill.
We must talk about Deepak Chahar and the innings he did, because there was a time when I think the 5th wicket fell, where you thought, okay, that's it. Or 6th wicket fell and you were like, okay, this is just a formality now, it's going to finish. And then you look in 20 minutes, 15 minutes later, 3 overs later, India's in the game again, right? You're like, wait a second, you're not just in the game, you're going to win this game. This Deepak Chahar half century, just the shots that he hit today. Yes, he was living on the edge of the sword. Luck went his way a couple of times, but he showed a lot of heart in that innings. And Harsha, the word you use, hunger, because you know that you've come off the bench today to play in place of Lord Shardul, right? Lord Thakur, big boots to fill. But Deepak showed a lot of heart today. He didn't he?
There was one shot that I remember where I thought, yes, he was lucky. Maybe you'll remember a couple more. When he came out, he wasn't in control, played the shot, it went for 4 overs over near square leg. But a lot of the shots were shots that he intended to play. I mean, the 6 over point was beautifully struck. It might look like he was throwing his back, but he hit it well. The other one of Magala itself, when he hit over mid-wicket, was also very well timed. It might not have looked like most elegant position, but it went off the bat really well. So he wasn't just slogging. He was telling you, you know what, I can bat.
Yeah.
And I think these are the kind of players you need to look at carefully as well. People who are giving you genuinely in 2 ways. So if you're 5 down, you can expect a 20-25 from him. But I like the attitude today. He was distraught when Bumrah got out. Forget when he got out, that happens. But when Bumrah got out, we should have seen.
I also have to say a small domestic cricket incident that happened. Rajasthan were playing in Kerala. It was Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament, and there were 6 sides in a group, and Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu were paired together. We got off to a good start, and we ended up winning most of the games, and we kind of cruised through. But the first 3 games, Deepak Chahar wasn't there for Rajasthan, and they had lost 2, and they had just won 1. But after he came, they went on to win the next 3, went to the Super League phase, won against Karnataka, Mumbai, and then went on to play the semi-finals against us. But just what he brought to the table as a leader was very good. He has that fighting spirit in him. You can see it. And you call it hunger. You call it the ability to get the best out of player. He seems to have that. And that's a very good attribute to have. I think Rajasthan, in the limited time that he's led, he's done a good job for them as well.
Well, we've got Lord Shardul, who makes magic happen. You've got Sir Jadeja, who can make magic happen. Maybe we make him, what do we make him? Duke Deepak? Duke Deepak. There you go. So there's a ring to it.
What it does is, I know it's only one performance, and you can't start counting. You can't start planning.
The last ODI he played was against Sri Lanka. He did that there as well with the bat.
And I was just writing down some numbers. He came in at 160 for 6 in a run chase of 276 and took you home.
Yeah.
Today he came in at 195 for 5 in a 288 run chase and almost took you home.
Yeah.
We talk about Hardik at 6 as being that key player. Hardik 6, Jadeja 7, and a seam bowler who can bat at 8. I know it's only been 1 or 2 performances yet, but it's worth exploring if you can have. And I think Jadeja is ready to bat at 6 in a 50-over game. I'd love DK's thoughts on that. Is Jadeja ready to bat at 6 in a 50-over game? If he is, can you then say, okay, I'll have Jadeja, Chahar, Thakur playing that 20 overs role at different stages in the innings, and then I'll have my other bowlers if Hardik is not available to me. So it does open up that possibility. I don't know if DK agrees or whether he thinks I'm going too far on the base of one performance.
No. So for the first part of the question, I think definitely Jadeja is ready to bat at 6. In fact, I'd say he's batting so well. He can bat at 5 as well because he's using his brains. He's not that reckless kid who started. He is different now. He's somebody who's winning games with the bat. And in fact, you might actually say in white ball cricket, his strongest suit is batting. The way he's done over a period of time. And he's really batting well. You could bat him at 5 or 6 and he'll deliver for you consistently because he has a good head on his shoulders and he knows how to take a game deep. When it comes to 6, 7 for Chahar and 8 for Shardul, again, if those two are batting, it's not bad, but you'll still feel you're a little light sometimes, which is okay. I mean, South Africa won having that. But the guy who really looked good today, again, and I thought he batted brilliantly, was Surya Kumar Yadav. I think the way he is batting is hard to look ahead of him. He is batting in a different planet altogether. The kind of shots, the kind of positions that he's getting into to execute the shots that he's doing, and with a very positive intent. He batted brilliantly today. Yes, he got out, but he made batting look way easier than what it was in that situation, given he's just got this one game to come. You give him a long run, I'm sure he'll do something really, really special for Team India. But he needs a long run. I think everywhere he's under so much pressure because of the players above and below him and where to bat and where not to bat. He's somebody who can do, magic for India as a batter, because I think he's got those shots in white ball cricket where it's very hard to set fields to him because he's constantly not looking to hit sixes. He's looking to hit boundaries by beating gaps. And those kind of players are very dangerous.
DK, there's one question I wanted to ask you because there are some players who do very well in certain situations when they have a certain number of deliveries. Is Surya Kumar Yadav someone who will be very good when there's 20 overs left? Or do you think he's got it in him to come in at number 4-5 in a 300 run chase at 100 for 3 and take you home from there?
Harsha, I think he's not somebody who will bat at different tempos at different positions. He'll bat same. Even when he comes at number 3 for Mumbai, he pretty much plays like this. He plays not differently to this. And that's a special attribute to have, the ability to hit boundaries in the first 4-5 balls by playing shots that are not conventional. He is very good at that because he's got great hand-eye coordination. I think in his younger days, he must have played in places which forced him to use his hands a lot to beat gaps. And you can see that comes to him very naturally. That's why it's very hard to have a short fine leg or a short third man to him. And the moment you don't bring one of those two guys up, you have to have mid-on or mid-off up. So then that puts a lot of pressure on the bowler. They can't bowl fuller. So these are the issues that bowlers face when they bowl to a Surya Kumar Yadav. On good wickets, he has the ability to hit length balls over mid-on, mid-off. But you at no point can you bring a short fine leg in. So because he's so good in just coming and just taking that ball over fine leg. And he's really good at that. So my answer would be, you will get a good amount of runs from him, even if he bats at 4 or 5. But I will always bat him at 5 or 6 in one-day cricket because what he does is special. The ability to come and turn around games at such a quick speed with so much consistency is an attribute that is worth its weight in gold, which not many players possess. We have a lot of players who can come and take time and play and then obviously launch. But to come and launch in the first 10, 12 balls of one-day cricket, he has it in him. It comes to him very naturally. That's why he's so effective, efficient, and at times dangerous as a T20 batter, because you don't need to play 80, 100 balls. Just 40 to 50 balls, you can change the game on its head. And that's what he's done consistently for Mumbai Indians. And that makes him a very special batter.
Frustrates me just a little bit because Sky has been in this kind of form for so long. I don't understand why he's not starting every game. Right? Because as you said, the unconventional shots, and then he peppers them with some really conventional shots. He'll give you a cover drive, he'll give you a straight drive, and that can probably drive opposing captains, bowlers, fielders just crazy, saying this guy's like, you need 16 people on the field to stop him.
Inside-out shot. That inside-out shot is played by a special way. Not everybody can play it well. In his pomp, the left-handed Raina played it sensationally.
Yeah.
And now Surya Kumar Yadav plays that shot. The inside-out is not the easiest of shots to play, but as I said, Raina in his pomp was a fantastic player of that shot, and I think Surya Kumar Yadav now, it just shows he's got shots all around. As DK said, where he said a field, because he plays the inside out, he goes over mid-on, he's excellent behind square, and he plays classic cover drives too, not just inside out up in the air.
Yeah. He did that with his grip change today behind square, that the 4 that he got right after getting a straight drive and then one. It's just a big fan of Sky batting, and I don't understand why he's not starting every game. But today he did, and today he showed why everybody loves him or why we're backing him, because he really showed that kind of just coolness at the crease. He's really pretty cool about it. All right, let's see India's one-day schedule and see what's happening ahead. Of course, this series hasn't been much one-day cricket for India of late. The full team together played ODIs last in March of 2021 against England. So, 10 months later. But now there's some games coming up against the West Indies. And, this is not the West Indies that a lot of you may be used to. So we got 3 of those coming up in Ahmedabad. And then it goes straight to July, where it's playing against, where you're playing 3 ODIs against England. So there's not too many coming, DK. They're very few and far between. I think somebody who is my line of thought about one-day internationals is handling the FTP.
You got to understand, it's February and then maybe July, only because of the IPL being right in between that. So obviously a large chunk of the days will go for that tournament, which is the premier tournament in India right now. So you can understand why that happens. And now after West Indies, I think Sri Lanka are coming, if I'm right. They're playing a couple of tests, or T20s, which obviously happens before the IPL starts. So we have that series as well.
Is it South Africa
we have
in June? Sorry.
South Africa come in June. They play T20s as well. And then I think there's an Asia Cup that gets slotted in between. The calendar sometimes is a bit like us packing bags, not DK, because DK carries so many bags, he's got room for everything. But when people like you and me pack, you know how it is after you've packed everything, you see a little bit of space there and you push something in. So we've got an Asia Cup slotted in between. I think there's a little trip to the West Indies in between. But with the T20 World Cup in October, you're not going to be playing ODIs at that time. Post those 3 England ODIs, you're going to be playing only T20s.
Yep.
Then the run will start in that 12 months to play ODIs and prepare for the 23, because that's now not in Feb, March, but in October.
I'm wondering why even these ODIs, not just because India's lost 3-0, it's a year of a T20 World Cup. There were supposed to be 3 ODIs and 4 T20s. The 4 T20s got canned and the 3 ODIs got played. Now I'm thinking, yes, chalo fine, yeah. Let me just take out my objective hat and say, please, you should have played the 4 T20s, man. What have you done to us, guys? Come on. Anyway,
you do know of DK and his bags, no?
Yeah, we've all seen pictures on social media. What is it, DK? 7 packing light is 5 suitcases.
See, when you go to England, it's a cold place. You need to carry a lot of winter wear there.
Especially if you're from Chennai. You know, I've seen, I'll just take 30 seconds. I've seen another player from Chennai, Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan. At the first sign, you know what it is like in Mumbai now? He'll be wearing 2 thermals. He goes around carrying 3 or 4 thermals. That's what happened. I asked him, what's the word in Tamil for winter? And he who speaks Tamil so well started, and then he said cold season. Chalikano. In Telugu, we say Chalikano. So, so I can understand DK being from Chennai going to England.
I thought he had like a yak inside there or something. You just hug this and I feel really cold. With 7 suitcases. Okay, we have... there's a lot to unpack for India and their one-day plans. But there's not too many one-day internationals, as we showed you. Only about 6 more to be played over the next 6 months. So, I mean, we can sit and pontificate right now about what the plans would be for the 2023 World Cup. But you can't do that anymore because ICC has a tournament every year. So I think at least now we will be talking less about 4-year plans and just about a 1-year plan, since there's a tournament happening every year. Right now, we have an Ask Cricbuzz live question. We get a lot of questions from our viewers and we love them. And we've picked one out here. Does India's middling white ball program need a rethink in philosophy? A la England in 2015. What lessons from England's 5 years of white ball dominance can be implemented in the Indian setup? Geez, there's a lot to unpack in this question.
This is a 50-mark question in a 2-hour paper.
Yes, exactly.
You have to answer everything. What Owen Morgan did post 2015, the best thing that happened to English white ball cricket was losing to Bangladesh in the 2015 World Cup, because it just opened everybody's eyes to how far behind they were compared to the rest of the world. I don't think India is that far behind. So I don't think India needs that kind of restructuring. There's some wonderful players in there, and you will see that happening very shortly. What England did, though, was they said, we will go boom, boom, boom. We'll play 350, 400 games. If one day we're all out in the 42nd over, that's okay. But they started picking teams like that, where you were batting down to 8, 9, and everyone was just going for it. I don't know if that is because England did it, if that is the way to go about it. But definitely your team must be structured to get 300 every game.
DK, for you?
We have a very different philosophy, very different approach to ODI cricket. Even if you see even this game, I think even though we started rather timidly, rather quietly, we ended up, within touching distance of the score. And that's how our DNA is. I don't think we will get these slam bang swashbuckling openers, because in India, the problem is you do that 2 games and you obviously get out trying to do something fancy. Then obviously the knife is on your neck. So you always, after that, you're scared. You just want to make sure you get your runs initially, get your eyes set, and then try for something. So it's always a hard ask, unless it is there in your DNA, where you go from ball one, which I haven't seen among all openers. I haven't seen anybody go swashbuckling right from ball one, barring Prithvi Shaw. But the only difference is he plays a lot of cricketing shots. He doesn't hit over the top or anything. He plays proper cricketing shots and he gets those boundaries in the power play. Now, so I don't think we need to go the England way, because obviously they had they had different problems. They had a lot of test players who actually they realized that they don't need to have in that part of the setup, and they completely revamped it. And they got a fresh bunch of players. They at least had 6-7 changes in that. But the beauty about England, which we can try, which is very hard, is the team that they picked soon after the 2015 World Cup, when they played the next series, I think it was in West Indies, almost 80 to 90% of the players played the 2019 World Cup as well. And we can never boast of that. We can, post 2019 World Cup, the team that plays, there's already about 5 to 6 changes from there. So from there on to 23, I can see a lot more changes. And in many ways, what you're saying is right, Gaurav, these games are irrelevant actually, because at the end of the day, with every IPL, new players will get thrown in, who will obviously come into the T20 setup, and inadvertently you will find them being part of the ODI setup as well if they are really good. And that's what happens. It's not like the players who have been picked now have set the world alight in domestic cricket or in ODI games that they could have played. They haven't played actually. Even if they did, they haven't done anything. It's either come out of IPL's performance or the fact that they've done well in T20 for India. These 2 performances drive their opportunities in white ball one-day cricket as well. And that's how it's worked for some time. Hence, these 3 games and the next 3 games, these 3 games will have a hangover for the next series. That's about it. After that, we will see a completely different team when India takes on the next ODI, which, like you said, is 6 months later in July. So that'll be a completely different team. You'll find that literally, you'll just turn back and be like, wow, that's not the team that we saw or predicted. Yeah. So that's how it is, and that's how it will be. And that's how it will be in India always.
Change is the only constant. That's right. Well, wash your hands. I hope we have answered your question. We didn't try to wash our hands of the matter. We try to answer the question, and that's what has happened. We also don't wash our hands off the joy factor question. I'm very curious because, we do. Listen, the first innings went on for 4 hours plus, right? That's how long South Africa took. That's how long India took to bowl those overs. So that's why this day has seemed longer. Which celebrated cricketer's autobiography, published in 2018, has a title that literally means the exact opposite of what he was famous for. And the answer, ladies and gentlemen, is No Spin by Shane Warne. Clever. It's a very clever title, huh? No Spin. Clever title. Now, a lot of you...
Many different uses of the word spin.
Yeah. So he just meant that he's not a spin doctor. He's going to tell it to you absolutely straight. And that's what the book is. So, No Spin by Shane Warne. And we have a lot of correct answers that came in. Let's pick out our winner is Bharat Reddy. So congratulations to you, Bharat Reddy _2. You got the first correct answer. So well done. Jai Bharat.
So the Bharat Reddy who played 4 test matches for India in 79.
Yeah, thought so. Yeah. But it was before my area of expertise in terms of time. So that's why I thought let you answer it. I'm a 90s kid.
Very subtle. Very subtle.
80s kid? Okay.
Very subtle. Suggesting that anybody who knows what happened in 79 must be of a certain vintage, but I'll let that pass. It's okay.
Sir, you saw live, sir. I was not alive, sir.
79, he played that great series where Gavaskar made 221 at the Oval, India chasing 439. Bharat Reddy played those 4 games because Kirmani was left out of the series for various reasons.
But tell us what
India's 2 keepers on that tour were Surinder Khanna and Bharat Reddy.
So tell us which was the top song on the charts that year.
1979.
Yeah.
You are the RJ, man. You're the VJ. You should know, not me. I told you what happened. I'm telling you
before my. I come not
qualified to test matches. Test matches 439 to win. Gavaskar and Chauhan put on 213. India lost by 10 runs. I told you. See, you're the RJ. You tell me which songs in 79.
Audit karao numbers. Ye numbers audit karao jaldi se. Sir, I'll also say right now, Amar Akbar Anthony songs were number 1 that time.
But Bachchan was just starting to get into his prime, so you won't be wrong. Trishul, Mukadder ka Sikandar, कुछ भी बोल दो ना क्या है?
हमको तुमसे हो गया है प्यार क्या करें? भाई हमको भी प्यार है. किससे प्यार है? आपको पता है कि हमको तो IPL से प्यार है. The IPL auction is coming up, and we've got the 2 teams, which is Lucknow and Ahmedabad, have decided their 3 retentions. We spoke about it the other day, but we'll tell you again. It is Lucknow who has decided to pick KL Rahul, Marcus Stoinis, and Ravi Bishnoi. And KL Rahul, record breaker, ka-ching, run into the bank. 17 crores is what they have for him. And for the Ahmedabad team, their 3 picks or 3 drafts. Can't call them retentions because they're just coming in. Hardik Pandya, Rashid Khan, both at 15 crores, and Shubman Gill at 7. The teams that need captains. Let's talk about that actually. The teams that need captains. Bangalore needs a captain because Virat has stepped down. Kolkata needs a captain. KKR needs a captain. Yes, because they haven't retained.
Has Punjab said Mayank's going to be captain?
Kings 11.
Have they announced that Mayank is going to be the captain?
Kings have retained Mayank. They've not said Mayank is going to be captain, right?
No, I don't think they've said it. They don't say anything.
I don't think so.
And even when they say it, you can't trust them. They change their mind very often. So, who are the captains? Who are the 3 captains according to you? Who are going to be?
Chennai has a captain. Hyderabad has a captain. Mumbai has a captain. Delhi has a captain.
Lucknow and Ahmedabad have a captain.
Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Rajasthan. Rajasthan has a captain.
Yeah. These 3 teams. I told you.
3.
So 3 teams. So who are the 3 captains up for grabs? Will Shreyas Iyer be one?
100%. There's no doubt that Shreyas Iyer will lead one of the franchises, I think.
Okay, great. So that's one name. We're all in agreement. Second.
Yeah, but look, the 3 that are open are Kolkata, Bangalore,
and Punjab Kings.
Punjab. Yeah, those 3. Because here, here's another alternate sort of train of thought where people say, "Oh, what if he gets picked up by a Mumbai?" And then what if he gets picked up by a team that already has a captain? I think my only counter logic to that is that if a team has decided that they want him as a captain, they're going to break the bank and go after him more than a team that has done retentions can, right?
Yeah, but
that's what they do.
Auction dynamics. DK has been in millions of those. Auction dynamics determine your price. What point you come in, how much money you've got left. Look at someone like MI, right? Look at someone like MI. There's word that there may not be another auction again, which as long as you can ensure that the purse is being retained equally by everybody, which is the strength of the IPL, As long as you can ensure that the purse is being retained, I'm all for not having auctions and allowing people to scout their own players. But everyone should know exactly how much everyone's getting paid. But look at MI, for example. Suppose they're planning for an auction 3 years down the line. Rohit Sharma may not be number one choice at that point. Kyron Pollard may not be number one choice at that point. Bumrah would be into his 30s. Bumrah would be a definite choice. Maybe they'd want someone now to be captain 2 years later. 2-3 years later.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. So that's one name. Any other names? Anybody else? Anything else? Anything else that pops?
But if you go by recent history, obviously David Warner, he's captain of franchisee. He's available.
Yeah.
If you go by current, international standards, Pat Cummins, he obviously he's put his name in, so he's obviously have an opportunity to be a captain if he goes to a franchisee which believes he could be the captain.
Yeah.
And then you throw in an out.
Go on, DK.
I mean, you throw in an outside name. Obviously, Ishan Kishan has led the under-19s. He's led Jharkhand. So obviously, if they see him as an option.
There's one other option. He's not scoring too many runs at the moment. Yesterday, he made something like 11 of 29 balls or something in a small run chase. But KKR got into the final last year, the IPL. Don't forget. So is there enough in Owen Morgan, the batsman, to be picked as Owen Morgan, the captain? He's going to be leading England at the T20 World Cup in October.
Interesting.
Is there enough in Morgan to be a day in, day out batsman to lead a side?
I think this Pat Cummins point is very interesting, DK. I don't think a fast bowler's ever led an IPL team. I'm trying to think.
Sean Pollock, did he captain Mumbai Indians?
He did. He did early in the first season. In the first season, he did, yeah.
One sec.
After the Bhaji incident, yeah, he led.
Sean Pollock will take objection to the fact that you've called him a fast bowler. He was a proper all-rounder.
Yeah, but he was fast also. I thought you were saying.
Come on, he's a proper all-rounder.
He was fast at the start. Yeah, he was fast at the
start. Yeah, so that's one. That's just one name comes to mind.
Zahir Khan has been a captain.
For Delhi?
Zahir captained half a season?
Delhi?
No, full season. A couple of seasons, in fact, for Delhi.
No, he didn't do a couple of seasons.
No, he did. With
He's
Rahul
captained a
Dravid
few
as
games. SRH. Okay, so there have been a few. There have been a few fast bowlers. There have been a few fast bowlers.
Kumble had the temperament of a fast bowler. Even if he
that's
wasn't
right.
Fast. And he was, and his rocket ball was faster.
Captain.
Yeah,
Bhuvi's captained SRH for a few games. Yes, he has.
Yeah. Anil Kumble's rocket ball was faster than some people's.
So there you go. There's been a few. So let's see. All right. Do you guys want to attempt? Highest or most bid for player this season?
Ishan Kishan. Because
most
he ticks off Indian player, left-hander, wicket-keeper. Left-hand top order, wicket-keeper, Indian player. There's 3 boxes you're looking for. Top order player.
DK, a player to look out for, someone from junior cricket perhaps, or somebody from domestic cricket.
His
state.
I think from the under-19, I do feel a couple of names do come up to my mind. One is Hunger Gaker. I think a medium pacer who can hit a ball a long distance. He looks like a good pick, and I think a few franchisees will obviously have him in his thoughts. Yeah. Obviously, there is Yash Dhul, the captain. He looks somebody who's very sorted. Delhi, you could just see he's played a lot of games. He has that knack of scoring runs. A couple of players who were very interesting is Ankush Raghuvanshi from Bombay, who's batted brilliantly so far in the tournament, and Bawa. I think the left-hander looks pretty solid. Is a good player. I also like Vicky Ostwal, the left-arm spinner, who's bowled well. So they have a very few interesting talents out there. Some have already done well, but there are other names which I don't want to keep popping up, but they're also doing well. Like if you take Vasu Watts, they say is a very, very interesting talent again. SK Rashid from Andhra is a picture-perfect batsman. I mean, he looks technically very solid and he's a good player. So a lot of very good, interesting under-19 talent. But history says that in IPL, there is no time to groom a talent. They want ready-made talent most of the times. There is no grooming facility there. So that's one thing that most under-19 players who have come in and taken time have either not started, or when they've started, they've struggled a bit. So they need to have a bit of domestic cricket under them, and maybe India A if possible. That gives them the better chance of doing well. So when obviously my point here is they're not the first rated picks, they're backup options which they have. They go into that zone of it's good, let's have him in the team, he's young, maybe he'll come good. So not many under-19 cricketers have come immediately and straight away done well in an IPL.
I'm going one name from DK's table. He's not an under-19 kid, but I'm expecting him to do really well this year because there's a spark about him and he's got a huge presence at the crease. He's big built. When he's batting, a bit like Yusuf Pathan. You know, when Yusuf Pathan in his prime, when he was batting, he had a presence about him at the crease.
Yeah.
I find that kind, I'm talking too big at the moment, but I find a little bit of that in Shah Rukh Khan.
I think Shah Rukh Khan is batting his best right now.
Yeah, I find that presence he's got.
He is actually ready-made right now. I do think Team India should have a very strong look at him in the T20 format, especially because he has the ability to come in and tonk a few sixes. Another kid from Tamil Nadu who I feel is right up there, but obviously faces a lot of competition is Sai Kishore. I think he's really good. I think he is somebody who's ready to play in an IPL team. There is no doubt about that. And another player who's done really well for us in the middle order this year, along with Shah Rukh Khan, is Inderjit Baba. I think he stood out this year in terms of how well he's batted and the strike rates at which he's batting. Almost every time he's gone on to bat, he's hit a sixer, and he's looking like somebody who can make a difference in the middle of the innings. And he's also somebody that a lot of franchises will be looking at very keenly.
Yeah, this young man I thought would do really well. I thought would do okay, not great. I thought would do well. He had a middling career, but who's getting a bit of a renaissance after moving from Baroda. He's had a good year at Rajasthan, and that's Deepak Hooda. He's moved to Rajasthan. He's had a good year at Rajasthan. He's good in the field. He's starting to hit big. He's forgotten Baroda behind. So maybe you'll start seeing him, just come back up again. Deepak Hooda, Mandeep Singh, these are a couple of guys I thought would be very good. Didn't quite become what I thought they might. But Deepak Hooda is another person. He's done well in domestic cricket. So that's another person to look at.
Well, yeah, you
maybe not break the bank, but pick, yeah.
You may be listening to all of this and saying, "Oh, that's a lot of names that they've given us." Listen, there's over 1,000 names that I've listed for the auction. This is a big auction. It's going to be on the 12th and 13th, and we're going to be here on Cricbuzz with you all through both days, talking about all the good stuff that happens, all the ups and downs, and all the stock.
Sorry, how about Mohammad Shami? What about Mohammad Shami?
I'm not going to come on that day. I'm taking an absence of leave. You all two can handle that show brilliantly well. I've been isolated somewhere, completely AWOL, and those will be two nervous days for people like me.
Nah, they won't be. Trust me, it's not going to be a nervous day for you, bro. It's not. I can see the future. It won't. A nervous few minutes, perhaps, but then it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Those are my words.
Okay. Once DK goes off, I'll tell you which franchise is going to play for. Once he's not listening.
But you do know that this is not a secret show, that even when he leaves, he can still hear it, right?
Yeah, I know, but we do that a few times on our program.
Ah, beautiful. All right. All right. If you know what franchise DK is going to play for, come on, tweet it out to us. And whoever gets it right on the day, we'll give you a little shout out on the 12th, because that's when the name is going to come up. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. This has not been easy to watch, these three games, but chatting with you guys has made my days a lot brighter. So big thank you, DK. Thank you so much for being with us on these three games. Thank you. And
Thank you.
we hope to see you soon again on Cricbuzz Live. Big thank you to Mr. Harsha Bhogle as well. Thank you so much of coming out of your little cricket sabbatical and being here with us. Yeah.
Someone told me, I said sabbatical. Someone told me, sir, sabbatical 1 साल का तो होता है. आपका तो बहुत छोटा था sabbatical.
Sir, Indian cricket में
by your standards, it is a sabbatical. I was seeing you telling me about how much you've traveled. It's crazy. In time, I mean, you have to understand that we are in pandemic. I don't think the Bhogle family realizes it much, but there has been a pandemic which just happened, and you still have managed to fly around a lot.
He's doing it again. He's hitting the road again now.
The sabbatical is over.
I could write a paper and present at a conference on life in a bubble, as opposed to a player's life in a bubble, which has its own pressures, I understand. But what all happens when you're in a bubble? I said very often, I felt I was a topic of a poem by Gulzar. And it's also from your era, that song, so you'll recognize it.
Dinesh is talking to you. It's not. He's talking. He's talking to me. All right. Well, we're going to scoot now, and it's been a pleasure bringing Cricbuzz live to you on this series. We will be back, of course, for the West Indies series, all the white ball games. the 3 ODIs as well as the 3 T20s. And of course, that big auction weekend that's coming up. We also know now that one of the one-day games that was coinciding with the auction has been moved. That'll happen now on the 11th. And that will be the ODI series done. And 12th and 13th will be the auction. All right. So lots of cricket action coming up. Big thank you to all of you for being with us in these 3 games. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Big thank you to our crew as well. This was Cricbuzz Live.